Today we're going to discuss about bryophytes in diversity of living world, plant kingdom, unit 1, chapter 2 in botany. So bryophytes, the amphibians of the plant kingdom, because it need water and land. So like frog in animals, the bryophyte plants can want both. It can live both on land and water. So they are the simplest land inhabiting cryptogams and are restricted to moist, shady habitats. So they are land inhabiting. So they come from, that is, the algae lives in the water and it comes to the land. So they adapted the land terrestrial to live. And cryptogams means non-flowering plants. So they need moisture. So moisture should be there in the soil where they are living. And they are shade loving plants. So they need shade. If they expose to the sunlight, they will die. Okay. So that is land inhabiting cryptogams and restricted to moist and shady habitat. So they don't have vascular tissue system. So the vascular tissue system means xylem and phloem. Xylem conducts water and phloem conducts food. That was absent here. So because of that, this group, that is this bryophytes, can be called as non-vascular cryptogams. And they are called as amphibians of the plant kingdom because they need water to complete their life cycle. So he is the man who is called the Indian bryology, father of Indian bryology, Shivram Kashyap, in 1882 to 1934, the father of Indian bryology. So he had published the book on liverworts of Western Himalayas and Punjabi plains. So what book he was published? Liverworts of Western Himalayas and Punjabi, that is Punjab plains. And there he identified the new genera Hutchinson-Soniliae, Sauchia, Sivardilia and Stephensoniella. So these are the four genera found out by him, Shivram Kashyap. So this they may ask in your NEET exam. Bryophyte habitat, it is a thalloid structure. So this is a thalloid structure and this is the thalloid structure, and you can see the rhizoids below the thallus structure. So this is the habitat and this is the gemma cup. Okay. General characteristic features. So the plant is a gametophyte, that is the plant body of bryophyte is gametophyte, and you can see any differentiation of root, stem and leaves. There is no differentiation of such parts, root, stem and leaf. So most of them are primitive land dwellers. So they are dwelling the land. So they are dwelt to the land. And they are aquatic, Rhyella and Rhizo, that is Rhyella and Rhixiocorpus. These are the aquatic forms of bryophytes. So gametophyte is conspicuous. It is very small and long-lived phase in the bryophyte's life cycle. Okay, it is very conspicuous means it is complicated. You can keep it this like that. So the thalloid forms are liverworts and hornworts. So the mosses, they have leaf-like, stem-like structures. Okay. In liverworts, the thallus looks like the liver, and it is attached to the ground with the rhizoids. Okay. So here we see now. This is a liverwort form where the thallus is attached to the rhizoids. That is attached to the substratum through rhizoids. So there are two types of rhizoids, smooth-walled and pegged or tuberculate. So you can see here. So this is a smooth-walled rhizoid, and you can see the peg shaped in the inner wall of the rhizoid. So it is called as pegged rhizoid or tuberculate rhizoids. Okay, tuberculate rhizoids. So the scales are multicellular here. In mosses, the plant body is erect with central axis bearing leaf-like expansions. That is, the mosses looks like a small plant body and it possesses a small leaf-like structure. So the multicellular rhizoids are also present here. The vascular tissue systems are absent here. That is, xylem and phloem are completely absent. So they are called as non-vascular cryptogams. So vegetative reproduction takes place by adventitious buds in Rixia flutans and tubers in Anthoceros, and that is, in some forms there are detached branches. So the branches are cut from the body, and it forms the, with the help of that, vegetative reproduction takes place in Bryopteris fruticulosa. In Markantia, the propagated organ, that is, you can see here the gemma cups. This is called gemma cups. Through this also the vegetative reproduction can take place. That is called gemma cups. That takes place in Markantia. Sexual reproduction is oogamous type, that is Archegonia and Anthridia is there, and they are protected by a multicellular wall layer. So the Anthridia moves towards, that is swims in the, for this only the water is needed. The fertilization takes place in the water. The Anthridia have a flagella and it swims in the water and reaches the Archegonia, and there the fertilization takes place and it forms diploid zygote. When the diploid zygote forms, that is the fertilization takes place, the sporophytic generation start, and zygote is the first sporophytic cell. So it undergoes various division to form the embryo. So the embryogeny is exosporic, that is the first division is transverse. So transverse from the outer cell it takes place. So because of that division it is called exospory. So the embryo divides and gives rise to the sporophyte. The sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte because it depends on the gametophyte. And there are three different distinct regions: food, setae and capsule. So the footae is the basal part. Wait, we can, okay. So the footae is, this is footae is the basal part, and this is the setae, the stalk of the capsule, and capsule is here. Here the spores are present. Okay, that is the condition. The diploid spore mother cells, that is in the, as I said, the spores are formed, that is the diploid spores are seen here. After meiosis it becomes the haploid spores, and these spores liberates and gives rise, that is, and forms the haploid spores. From that a new bryophyte can, that a new plant can be arises. So you can see this is tuberculated rhizoids, and this is the sphagnum, it is a moss. Finaria is also a moss, and hornworts Anthoceros, and this is the fragmentation part, that is through vegetative reproduction the particular part is cut and it can grow into a new thallus. These are the tubers. So the tubers, it is all vegetative structure, vegetative reproduction. The tubers can give rise to a new plant, and gemma-cup formation, you can see this from the gemma-cup a new plant is arises. So bryophytes or homosporous means presence of the same type of spores, and their dispersal is, that is these sporophytes, that is they have an elatus. Elatus means hair-like structure. They are helpful in the dispersal of spores in Markantia, and they germinate to produce, the spores germinate to produce the gametophyte. So the zygote, embryo and sporogonium forms the sporophytic phase. The green long living haploid phase, that is the long living haploid phase, is the gametophytic phase. The haploid gametophytic phase shows alternate, that is alternate with the diploid. Because of this, two types of generations was seen in, that is two types of phases was seen in a life cycle, that is called heterologous alternation of generation. That is gametophytic alternates with the sporophytic, it forms the heterologous alternation of generation. So now we move on to the classification. Proskier in year 1957, that is, had divided the bryophytes into three classes: Hepaticopsida, Rixia, Markansia, Porellia and Realia. So Hepaticopsida, that is Hepaticopsida means it looks like the liver. So this looks like the liver shape. So because of that the name came as liverworts. And Anthoceratopsida, Anthoceros and Dendroceros. So this is an example for Anthoceros, and it is also called as hornworts. Hornworts means it looks like the horns of the animal, no, because of that the name came as hornworts. Bryopsida is the that is a plant-like structure with leaves, stem, like that position. Here also you can see this is also a moss, and Marsilia is one of the moss. So Bryopsida, Finaria, Polytrichum, Sphagnum comes under this. Next is the economic importance. Dead thallus of sphagnum is accumulated and compressed and hardened to form the peat. The peat is the one of the form of fossil form. So the dead portion of the sphagnum will becomes the peat. In northern Europe, that is Netherlands, the peat is used as a fuel in commercial scale. So the peat is used as a fuel like petrol, kerosene, diesel. The peat is used as an fuel, even like coal also. Apart from this, nitrates, brown dye and tannin materials are also derived from the peat. Sphagnum and the peat are used in horticulture in packaging materials because of their water holding capacity. Okay, Markantia, the polymarpha, is used to cure pulmonary tuberculosis. So peat is used. They may ask what are the uses of peat means. The dead parts of sphagnum will become peat and it is used as an fuel, and from that nitrates, brown dye and tanning materials are derived from the peat, and in horticulture for water holding capacity they are using this. In the nurseries they are using. And the Markantia polymarpha, it is used to cure pulmonary tuberculosis. Sphagnum, bryum, polytrichum are used as food. So they are used as food, and bryophytes plays a major role in soil formation through succession and helps in soil conservation also. The bryophytes forms a mat on the soil. Due to the formation of the mat on the soil layer, it can control the erosion. So due to this, it can conserve the soil also, and Bux bohemia, ephylla, and Cryoptothallus mirabilis are the saprophytic bryophytes. So there are two types of saprophytic bryophytes: Bux bohemia, ephylla, Cryoptothallus or Cryptothallus mirabilis. These are the two saprophytic bryophytes. Saprophytic means live on dead organic matter. So thank you for watching the video. If you have any doubts, post the doubts in the comment box. Give a thumbs up, share and subscribe to Science Easy Tech channel.